Another hearing is currently being held by Judge Aileen Cannon in her courtroom over a ridiculous motion that Donald Trump filed to try to get the case dismissed. By all accounts, Judge Aileen Cannon is behaving in a very bizarre and unhinged manner. I want to explain to you what's going down. Just to give you context, today's hearing is a motion to dismiss the indictment filed by Donald Trump alleging that the special counsel's appropriations, the funding, is unlawful, and therefore the entire case should be dismissed. This follows the argument last week that Judge Aileen Cannon held basically a full-day hearing about, where Donald Trump argued that the very existence of the special counsel is unlawful. The appointment of a special counsel is improper and unlawful, and the case should be dismissed. All of these arguments are completely frivolous. There should be no hearings on them at all. Precedent is very clear that the special counsel and the appropriations thereto are common by the Attorney General's office, yet Judge Aileen Cannon is holding this hearing. And just take a look at what went down in today's hearing when James Pierce, on behalf of the special counsel's office, was arguing. So Judge Cannon goes, "Mr. Pierce, can you provide me some examples of limitless appropriations like in this specific case?" And then James Pierce goes, "Yes, I can think of two, and it means that they are not limited by time or by amount." Judge Cannon then starts to ask the special counsel's office about the special counsel's website that showed their latest expenditure report. Then she goes through specific lines and the amount of expenditures that were made to the special counsel's office between November 2022 and March 2023. And Judge Cannon said, "So is it 5.4 million or really $9 million?" And what Judge Cannon was doing here was basically trying to provide some red meat propaganda for Fox to say, look how much taxpayer money is being spent on the special counsel's office. Well, Judge Cannon, if you handle this case in an expeditious manner the way you're supposed to, I think the overall cost would probably be less as well. And then James Pierce, the lawyer for the special counsel, responds to her, and he goes, "I'm not sure. If you want, we'll do a supplemental brief for the court." And Judge Cannon said, "That would be helpful because these are public documents, Mr. Pierce." Then Mr. Pierce for the special counsel's office says, "I understand, but Your Honor, there is no case at all where any court ever has suggested that the total amount of expenditures that are being paid to the special counsel's office to bring in experts and conduct legal work and operate its staff is relevant. It's an irrelevant factor. We are a public entity, so of course we're going to post what the costs are. But why are we talking about this, Your Honor, in today's proceeding? It has nothing to do with anything at all in terms of the legal effect." Then Judge Cannon says, "But when it's limitless, there are separation of powers concerns." And then James Pierce, the lawyer for the special counsel, says, in fact, Your Honor, case law says you only focus on the source of funding and the purpose of the funding." And then Judge Cannon yells at the special counsel's lawyer, at James Pierce, and says, "Do not interrupt me," when he was just trying to explain to her what the law is, while she was making up this argument that is not only baseless, but like so entirely baseless that she would get an F if she was in a law school class teaching this, when she says it's a separation of power concern. Whether or not the special counsel's office was getting paid $5.4 million to run all of the lawyers over the course of a year, or whether that was actually $9 million, it's a separations of power concern. What separation of power concerns are you referring to when you have Donald Trump, who is no longer in the executive branch, who stole classified documents and then obstructed justice? Where are the separation of power concerns? The separation of power between Congress, which appropriates this money to the Department of Justice, which has a $1 billion budget and can fund the special counsel's office as it has done for decades, and every court has upheld it. Who's bringing this challenge right now? Are you trying to represent the interests of a hypothetical MAGA Congress that is upset about this after they made the general appropriations to the Department of Justice? And then Judge Cannon kept on going. She goes, well, what about the other funding sources? And the lawyer for the special counsel's office is like, look, the DOJ has over $1 billion that can be used as appropriations to fund the special counsel's office. And Judge Cannon goes, well, what happens to prior expenditures in the event the court rules that the special counsel's office isn't allowed to use this funding? And you have the lawyer for the Department of Justice like, what? What are you talking about? There's appropriations for the DOJ. We can use these funds. There's no law that says the funds are tainted. The Supreme Court has said that you don't look to undo the acts that have already happened. So there's no change that's going to happen. If you declare that the funding is improper, it doesn't do anything. You can't dismiss the case for this. Look, there is sufficient independence, and the special counsel strikes that balance of independence and accountability. And Pierce further added that the special counsel can and should be able to operate the way it's doing. And then Judge Cannon asks a bunch of other questions like that. And remember what happened on Friday, too, the way she was behaving? One of the lies that Trump's lawyers made and that she was trying to entertain about the unlawful appointment of special counsel Jack Smith. They said never before has a special counsel been appointed who was not a former United States attorney. Again, why that's relevant at all. The special counsel statute has already been found to be constitutional over and over again, so there shouldn't even been a hearing on it Friday. But look what happened. So there was supplemental briefing, and special counsel Jack Smith over the weekend basically filed a brief saying, you know who, I'll give you some examples of another attorney general who appointed special counsels who were not technically United States attorneys, but were kind of other high-ranking former DOJ officials. Bill Barr. Bill Barr appointed 3 attorneys as special counsels during his first term as the Attorney General. These included, then he goes through the name, Nicholas Bua, Malcolm Wilkie, and Frederick Lacy. Within the background of Judge Cannon engaging in all of this behavior, take a look at her docket. Take a look at all of these paperless orders, paperless orders, paperless orders, paperless orders. So she's in court yelling at the special counsel's lawyer over some ridiculously frivolous argument that the general appropriations to the Department of Justice to fund the special counsel's office is tainted money and is improper. You got the special counsel's office saying, what are we even talking about here? The source of this money is fine. This has never been challenged. A challenge like this has never been even heard like this in a case. And then she issues these paperless orders like this one. Paperless order from June 24th. In accordance with the court's prior order, the hearing scheduled for June 25th, 2024, related to Donald Trump's motion for relief relating to the Mar-a-Lago raid and unlawful piercing of the attorney-client privilege will commence in a sealed session at 11 a.m. to protect materials as to which grand jury secrecy applies and or as to which defendant Trump asserts attorney-client privilege and or work product protection. So she wants to hold this other hearing in secret over Donald Trump's claim that another federal judge, by the way, in Washington, D.C., Judge Beryl Howell, found in a very detailed order, I think it was 50 to 80 pages long, that Donald Trump waived the attorney-client privilege by using his lawyers in furtherance of a crime. And then Judge Beryl Howell, a federal judge, ordered that these notes of the lawyer showing the crimes that Donald Trump committed at Mar-a-Lago be turned over because it's not privileged or confidential documents when an attorney is being used to commit crimes. But Judge Cannon doesn't want to listen to what the other federal judge ruled, who was presiding over the grand jury. Judge Cannon, in her own mind, is thinking she may overturn what Judge Beryl Howell, a very experienced judge, did in a detailed order, which Judge Cannon would be reversed right away by the 11th Circuit if she did that. And by the way, you know, that paperless order, like all these ridiculous paperless orders, comes on the same day right now where ABC just broke the news moments ago that the special counsel's office was focused on another interaction in July where Donald Trump and Waltine Nauta, weeks before Mar-a-Lago was searched, they went in and they snuck into Mar-a-Lago to move more boxes. One witness told Trump was checking in on the boxes in July. So in 2022, remember the timing here, right? A subpoena issues for Trump to finally turn over these boxes after lying about him for a very long period of time. Over a year, Trump was lying about it. So finally, the DOJ subpoenas it. So that's May. Then June, the Department of Justice, FBI show up. Trump claims he's turning over the records. In June of 2022, he has one of his lawyers sign an affidavit saying that everything has now been returned. Remember, they moved stuff that day to hide it from the DOJ the day before. And then they lied in the affidavit. Remember, there's all this surveillance footage of Waltine Nauta moving the boxes around to hide it from the DOJ. I mean, it looks like a Three Stooges skit. He's got the box. He's like hiding it from the DOJ with our nuclear secrets in it, war plans, real serious classified documents they're hiding, which don't belong to him. And they're specifically hiding it from the Department of Justice. They're caught on surveillance footage. And now we know that in July, Donald Trump and Waltine Nauta, between July 10th and 12th, took a secret visit back to Mar-a-Lago. Waltine Nauta wrote text messages to Carlos de Oliveira, a co-defendant and co-conspirator in this case, saying, coming down to Florida soon, with shushing emojis to indicate the visit was to be kept quiet, according to another text message described by sources. And if you take a look at this, this unreported visit took place July 10th to 12th in the summer of 2022, and they wanted to keep it quiet to check in on the boxes that they were concealing from the Department of Justice that had nuclear secrets, war plans, and other highly sensitive documents. And with all of that, you've got Judge Cannon acting, in no offense to clowns, because it's a real profession. What Judge Cannon is doing right now is wannabe fascism clownishness, yelling at the special counsel's office over unlawful appropriations, and then setting these hearings about overturning an order by another judge in Washington, D.C., who found that the attorney-client privilege doesn't apply precisely because of the crime fraud that was actively taking place. I'll let you judge for yourself, but that's what's going on in court today. What do I predict is going to happen? Judge Cannon will ultimately make a ruling where I bet you she denies Donald Trump's motion, but yells at the special counsel's office in the motion. She'll deny it without prejudice to try to stop special counsel Jack Smith from appealing it. And then she'll say, look, I agree with Trump on everything, but I have to follow here some of the law, but I don't like the way the special counsel's office is dealing with it. That's probably the way she ends up ruling, but we'll see. But this behavior is so bizarre. Anyway, let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million together. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.